Hello friends and fellow collectors, Flip Young here checking in to tour you around this Marvel Legends Bulldozer from the Wrecking Crew. So once again, a quick look at the box before we get into further detail with the figure. Once again, at the front of the box, still the standard Marvel Legends open window packaging. On both sides, instead of having this regular artwork of the figure itself, since he is a part of that Ultron or Ant-Man series, he comes with a bunch of ants on both sides as far as the artwork goes. On the back of the figure, you would see a head-to-toe picture of the figure, a completed build-a-figure piece here, and the rest of the figures, which comes with the same wave as this current figure that we are looking at. So once again, Marvel Legends Bulldozer from the Wrecking Crew. Let's not waste too much time here in the box and take a look at the figure inside the box. So, taking a look at all the inclusions here, he doesn't really have accessories that he could use. However, he does come with this left arm of the Build-A-Figure Ultron. And let's take a more detailed look of the figure. One moment here. So how's everybody doing? I do hope everyone's doing alright. Let's see here. So just a quick glimpse at the figure here. The first thing you would notice, if I'm not sure if you could really see that clearly on the camera, but the lack of shading on the orange portion of the figure. So that's one gripe. Overall, I only have like two gripes about this figure, which is not really a big deal. Putting into consideration that he's a $20 figure, so we can't really ask too much about this figure. And pretty much what he comes with, outweighs his pros outweighs the cons of this figure. So I'm pretty happy with him. The size, the detail. Of course, with the absence of the shading on the orange portion of the figure. Other than that, everything else looks amazing. So let's take a look at the head. So looking at the head here, you would see that his eyes, I'm not sure if you could see that in the lighting. Let me try to reposition my light here. If you could see that his eyes are like painted silver or a bit of charcoal. I'm so sorry for my lighting, guys, but pretty much that's his eyes. I wish they made the eyes more like human eyes compared to just painted silver. And as far as the metal portion or the armor pieces around the figure, it's painted well. It looks like a worn and torn piece of iron. As you can see, some scuffing all over. On the head, you would see some bullet holes right here. I believe there should be another one here, just beneath the chin. There we go. And at the back of the head, right over here. So you would see some claws also on the top of the head. So looking at the figure, he looks like he made his fair share of battles, with bullets and swords, and I believe he may have fought Wolverine with these three scars right here on the top of his head. He looks like a smaller version of Juggernaut. He reminds me of the movie Juggernaut, from the X-Men movie back then. And pretty much that's it as far as details. The only thing that's lacking is, the darker shades around the orange portion, but as far as the metal portion of his armor, it's pretty much there. It's more than fair, as far as what they did with the figure. And another gripe I have here, as we would actually talk about that as we go over the articulation. So let's go ahead with the articulation. So he has this tilting movement here on the neck, and on top of that he has also a ball jointed neck. So on top of making him face up this way, you could also shift the neck backwards to give him a more angle, and the same with downward angle here, which is pretty neat. And the side to side motion doesn't really get hindered by this collar piece here. And this is a floating piece, an independent piece, but it's difficult to remove, as well as the belt. And of course, over here, the shin guard looking thing here, it does shift up and down. But I suggest not doing that to prevent, the losing, or what you call that, to prevent loose fitting. So as far as the shoulders, as it does move up this much and move down that much. I was surprised that this soft rubber material here doesn't really hinder the arm movement. It does get shift, it's being shift around as you move the arms, and it doesn't feel like it's too soft. But to my surprise, it moves around as you move the arms, so thus giving the arm movement more freedom. As far as the bicep, it comes with the swivel, single jointed elbow. At least it gave us a 90-degree angle, so for me that's good enough. On the wrist articulation, you don't really have any articulation here in the wrist portion, no hinge also. But on top of this gunlet here, he does have this swivel. So pretty much that's it for the arms. On the torso, he has this clicking motion. He could move forward that much, he could move backwards that much. You could feel some resistance there. When you push back, it fights back like some sort of like a spring mechanic. On the waist, he has his swivel as well. This thing doesn't really hinder that much. You could shift this up if you wanna twist the waist side to side. And once again, the sad part of this figure is he comes with a wide jointed hip joint or leg joint. So with that being said, you do need to move the leg forward and outwards, and then twist the thigh back to neutral position if you want him to look like he's kicking forward. So this is as far as I could get my figure to kick forward. And kicking back, this is as far as I could have my figure. So it looks like he has better angle in kicking back compared to kicking forward. He could do the split motion. This is as far as I can move my figure. And of course, upper thigh swivel, double jointed knee, which actually is very good, which gives us a very good angle or range there. Looking at the shin portion here, you would think that he may have a swivel, but this is a separate piece, and the foot itself doesn't give it a swivel. He has this side-to-side tilting, but very minimal. He has toe articulation. It moves up and goes back to neutral position. It doesn't really point down. For me, pointing down is not really that important, because it doesn't make sense to position the toe, bending downwards. You could make the whole foot point up and then point down. Articulation wise, that's it. He has great movement, and I just want to point out also in the abdominal area, I would have him like crouch forward this way, because if you try to have him straighten his back, you would see some lack of detailing or sculpting here in the abdominal area. So there's a huge space left blank here in the upper region of the abdominals. The bulkiness for me, it really it feels like it's in relation to what he should be as far as the bulkiness or the size of the character. I like the way they scaled this guy, and of course, to prove my point, let me compare him, give a size comparison to a regular 6-inch scale figure, which is Iron Man Mark 43 here. I'm not sure, is this 42 or 43? I totally forgot. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. And to a bulkier figure, you see a Sentry here, but he is still bigger than Sentry, even though Sentry is bulkier than the Iron Man. So it's good scaling here, because he's supposed to be a larger figure, but smaller compared to the Hulk and Juggernaut. And with that, let me compare him also to the Incredible Hulk, Marvel Legends. So pretty much that's it. He's a bit shorter than Incredible Hulk, but he's taller than Sentry here. So scale wise, they scaled him perfectly as far as the height and the width. So pretty much that's it, guys. Hopefully this review is a bit helpful in a way, and I hope to see you soon. Once again, thank you for watching. So Flip Young here, checking out. Goodbye.